What's up, guys? Brett Chotkevys here with Assisted Living Investing. I want to talk to you about the easiest way that you can lose $1 million+ in assisted living. So I've actually talked to a bunch of people that are in this circumstance, and I want to share some of the feedback that I think they are setting themselves up for a big $1 million+ failure. And so it's going back to deal structure. It's going back to partners. And I would say this, that people will make partnerships. They'll do JV deals in order to get their first assisted living done or built, right? And they're doing unnecessary deal structure. They're bringing on partners that they really don't need. They're not providing any value to the business. And therefore, they're splitting the cash flow disproportionately, right? They may be doing more of the work, and this other partner may come in for really kind of no reason. I'll unpack some of these things there. But nonetheless, they have the operations company splitting that cash flow. And if you're doing a mansion like we do, it's not a small amount of cash flow, right? There's about 500 grand a year in free cash flow getting distributed between all the different partners. So they may be giving up $100,000+ a year or more in cash flow, and then $1 million or more as they go to exit the deal, sell the building. And really, that's where the big win is, right? We're gonna have this 5 or 10 year play, build the mansion, get our cash flow together, run this operations company, and then sell it to some big corporate or sell it to somebody else who wants to take it to the next level. And when you do that, you have literally millions of dollars in equity that is, really going to be split between the team. And so I see this mistake that people probably don't know that they're getting into and what a big circumstance it will end up being in a few short years. So I want to give you some parameters, at least from my opinion, of the 3 different type of partners that you should have on a team. And you may not need 3. It may be just you, right? You may be able to do all 3 of these jobs, these roles, or you may not. You may be able to do one of these and then you bring on the other 2. So the first person, and I'll call them avatars. The first avatar is the real estate avatar. And that's kind of like me, right? My background is a real estate investor. I did hundreds of deals. I work construction. I put, loans and investors, that kind of stuff, all the funding stuff together. And so that's really the job of this first person, right? The real estate kind of avatar. They come in on the front side and they're putting the whole deal together. They are looking for the right opportunity. They're doing the market research. I want to be in this area and not in these areas over here. They're looking at land. They're making offers on properties. They're going through and talking to the banks and raising the money, talking to potential investors, putting all of this kind of deal structure together. Then they're taking down the land, right? They're going through either buying the property or buying the vacant land, getting ready for the rehab or the construction. And then that's a lot of work on that side through there, right? It's plans and permits, it's the architect, the engineers, it's finding the builder, it's dialing all these kind of things in, which takes months. Lots of work. And then it's managing that construction. For us, it's new construction. That's our niche, building mansions. So it's managing the architect or managing the builder to make sure all of that kind of stuff gets done. And then really you're handing it off. It still may be you on this next part, but it may be the next avatar of the operations person. And the operations person, they really don't start like once you have the license in the building, right? Especially if you're building new construction, they start earlier, much earlier in the process because they are the ones doing the marketing. They may be coming in on the very front side, leading the marketing to find investors. That could be the whole team, but it could be them. Then they're also coming through, getting it plugged into the community. We are very much plugged into our Georgetown community, and we have all the different decision makers and people very much involved in the community walking through our mansions while we're under construction. We are already having a big wait list being built because of this person, right? Their job is getting plugged in, the marketing, the sales, the touring. They are doing the day-to-day operations, right? That's Laura for us. She runs the day-to-day operations company. And what I mean by that is she runs our management team, right? So she's not necessarily there anymore, but when we first opened our first one, she was there every single day. When we opened the next couple, again, she's probably gonna be there every day for the first few months until we get to that stabilized period. But she's the one running the weekly meeting with our team, with our management, going through the KPIs, making sure there's no issues. Her job is really to create the systems, implement the systems, and then solve for problems week by week by week. So a lot of those problems are staff related, right? How do you make sure that you create an awesome culture and fire the wrong people, grow the right people? That is a lot of Laura's day-to-day job, making sure the operation company runs smoothly or as smooth as possible, making sure that we have an awesome reputation, awesome care known in our community, and that our phone keeps ringing, that we have tours every single week. Right now, our managers are going and doing the day-to-day marketing, but Laura created all of these systems, and then she's really there to maintain this, to make sure that our ship keeps moving in the right direction, and it does veer off course, right? And then just how to correct that. So I would say that both of these first two avatars, the real estate avatar and the operations avatar, these people need to be local. Again, it can be the same person. It can be you. You can do both of these things if you have the right experience. But don't bring on somebody that's across the country in another state, right? Like, that is not the right person for this, and I'll unpack that a little bit more later. So the third avatar, your third potential partner, is your money partner. And again, you may not need them. You may have all of your ducks in a row and you have the down payment funds. You may be able to use it in cash, and sometimes you can use it in equity that you have in other real estate. But honestly, most people don't have that option, right? Everyone starts from zero and they need to bring on an investor partner, and there's nothing wrong with that. I would bring on that investor partner, and you can structure them on the equity side where they have a percentage of the real estate and or the operations company, or you could structure them on the debt side where you're just paying interest and they have collateral against the real property. They may be in a second position. If you have a bank loan, you may be able to do it all private money. There's a bunch of different ways to go on this. But this person's job is really to bring the capital to the table, right? The down payment funds that are needed, the gap funds that are needed. There may be working capital funds or reserve amounts that are needed. If they're part of the team where they're on the equity side and they have more than 20%, the bank may require them to personally guarantee, to sign on the dotted line. They may also have to bring in, extra collateral depending on what your loan and your appraisal value comes back at. So there is risk on their side, and you have to negotiate with them. How do you reward them proportionally? Because they may be a passive partner, right? They may be someone who's not doing any work in the business, but they are taking a substantial risk. They are putting up their capital, and or they are also putting up, signing on the dotted line saying, hey, if things go bad and the bank takes this real property and that's not enough, not only did I lose the capital I put in, but now they're gonna come after me to get the difference. So there's some real risk there, and they have to be rewarded proportionally for that. Now, this person, in my opinion, does not have to be local because, again, they could be on the passive side. They're not really involved in the day-to-day operations at all. So they could live in another state. My partner lives in another state. It is totally okay, right? But I do think that those first two partners do need to be local. They need to be able to get to the property within a reasonable amount of time to do their work. So as you're putting your team together, you can do a huge deal like this, right? You can do $3-4 million deal like we build these assisted living mansions. You just have to put the right team together. If you find the right experience on the real estate side, on the operations side, and the money partner, then this whole thing can work. And what experience do you have, right? Which one of those three boxes are you? And you may have two out of the three, right? If you have none out of those three, then I would say, hey, go back to the drawing board, put in the time, right? Put in the work, go figure out the real estate side or the operations company side, right? Do whatever you have to do to make yourself more valuable so that you can collect the other two pieces needed. But if you can't really contribute anything, then why are you part of the deal? And that's really what I want to talk about. Why bring in people that cannot do one of these three roles? And I've seen it several different times where people bring on an equity partner, right? They give them part of the equity in the deal, and they say, hey, you know what, you're gonna do this or that, or maybe this is what our dreams have been, and we've been talking about this for the last 2 years, and we decided we were gonna go in this together. And we didn't know anything about it at the time, but then as you continue to educate yourself and learn more, you kind of gotta have that hard conversation. And this is why I'm saying it. Hey, you know what? I don't think we should partner on these kind of things, right? You and me, we're the same avatar, right? We both have the real estate, or we both have the operations company side. We should not come together and partner because we don't need each other. I can do my job and you can do the same job. So therefore, right, there's not something we need there. We need the other person, right? One of those three. And if you and I are doing the same kind of skill set, then we should not be partnering together, right? We should go find the missing link. Who do we need to build our team together? So some of the mistakes that I see are couples that are like, hey, you know what? We're both nurses and stuff like that. Let's go do this together. Don't do it together. Do it separate, right? Encourage each other, learn from each other's mistakes, but go find the money partner and the real estate partner, or vice versa, right? And so another example that I've seen is bringing on a partner, giving them equity in the company, and they live far away. They live out of state, right? They may say, hey, you know what? This person's great at marketing, so they're going to take over the marketing. Man, we don't sell stuff online, right? Like, you don't need someone who is, virtual. You need someone local. You need someone who's going to be able to tour and walk through the mansions and sell these rooms. That is what you need for marketing, right? You can hire out a VA or somebody like that to do your, editing on your website or SEO or all that kind of stuff. You don't need to give away equity for that, right? That's kind of my point, is you don't realize how much money this is going to be worth in a few short years. It may be $1 million. Don't give away something that is worth so much when you can hire for, $20 an hour, somebody on Indeed or somebody to go do these kind of tasks. Another example I've seen is somebody who is local, who you think, hey, you know what? I'm the real estate guy. You're the construction guy. We have this operations person over here, and we have, potentially investor. I don't think you need that construction person. That is not someone you need to give equity to and have a 25% split where they get that, right? You're going to hire a builder. Unless your construction partner is going to be actually, running the construction themselves and building it, which kind of may be a conflict of interest, but that's up to you. If they're not, if they're just there to oversee another builder, you don't need that, right? You're going to have an architect and engineers oversee these things. You can do that. The real estate person can do that. That's my job. I'm doing that on our buildings. I have a builder who is a professional who's doing these things. He has a superintendent and a project manager on site every day. Don't give up 25% equity or whatever the number is to somebody who you really can hire these services out. It's honestly, in this example, it's already included in what you're gonna do anyways. You don't need someone to do that. So I would just consider these things, because I really think these are the three core components. You could say, hey, you know what, there's this and that over there. Yeah, sure, but you could probably hire out some of those tasks, or you could do them yourself. Really with the core focus of, I'm building this life-changing opportunity, and I don't need to give 10, 15, 20% away to other partners that really shouldn't be on my team, right? They can go do it themselves. You can still be friends, and you can encourage them. You can go through the journey together, just not in the same bus. You know what? They're going to get their own bus, and you can help them along the way, right? But give them their freedom to go and chase their own dreams. You're going to chase your own dreams, and just encourage each other. But sometimes I see it where you don't need to bring on that other team member who kind of is an overlap position. So you have these three avatars, and I think that deal structure is really, really, really important for this. And that's actually why, for the funding side, I like to use SBA. SBA, they will lend on the real estate side, they will lend on the operations company side, they will lend, a safety net and reserve capital, and they'll lend 80, 90% of all three of these kind of categories, which means there is less down payment that you need to come up with. And really that means there's less money you need to raise from potential investors. If you can cut back the amount of potential investors you need, maybe you can just bring on one potential investor now. So really you can focus on a JV type of deal, right? You can have some joint venture partnership between the three different kind of partners and avatars here. You don't have to go the way of a syndication where, hey, best case scenario, you have 10, 15% of this and you have like these 6 other partners. I don't think that's the best way to go for this type of business, right? We're not a passive business. We're an active operations company, right? We have a business opportunity, not necessarily a real estate deal. So the deal structure is super important. If you can dial in the 3 people on your team, then you can structure it differently. So I would encourage you to go find these 1 or 2 other people that may be your potential and partners, someone doing the work, or maybe somebody on the passive money side. Or you know what, shameless plug here, you can reach out to us. This is what we do. The strategic partnership is really our business model, how we go and partner with people around the country to build our exact mansions. So you may be the operations person, we come in, fill in the gaps on the real estate side. Or you may be the real estate person, we come in, fill in the gaps on the operations side, right? There are systems for everything. So go out and find who your potential partners is. Don't be afraid to put in the work. It's a lot of work, but the results on the backside are life-changing, right? Go get that financial freedom. Go get that one and done deal.